Hello and welcome to episode 8 of Amateur Hour, or sorry, 7 of Amateur Hour here. You got the two Cyclones here, Homer, Bryant, and Trent. How you doing tonight, man?
Doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good.
I would say we got a couple that are out here. They're busy having real lives, so we're just going to power through the college sports that we've had for the last week. We're kind of in that little bit of a lull. Basketball now everyone cares about basketball. I know Cyclone fans have been caring about it for a lot longer since our team wasn't great this year, but now everyone's caught back up with us.
Yep. National championships over in football. It's football's over for college. Now it's time for basketball. Conference play. It's getting good.
Absolutely. I'm having a riveting time watching Indiana, Illinois right now. It's really got me going.
Yeah. Did you know that we are closer to March Madness than we are to the beginning of the season?
Well, there we are. That was your trivia question, folks.
Think about that. Yep.
Like we're closer to like 2050 or something than the show that 70s show was to the 70s. I mean there's always weird stats like that.
Yeah. Speaking of, I think that 90s show premiered tonight, didn't it?
I think so. One of the probably bigger scenes that they didn't want spoiled is already out on the internet, so that kind of ruins it. I guess I'm sorry, not a spoiler. It's just cameo, like Shocker. When they make a show like that 90s show, you're expecting someone to come back from the original show.
Yeah, let me guess. Ashton Kutcher.
Oh, boy, you hit it right.
Wow, predictable. I mean,
and guess who else showed up? His wife and their wife in real life.
Oh, no way.
No, crazy. Wow. Boy. That Michael Kelso, that crazy character.
What about Hyde? Does he get to make an appearance, or is he still canceled?
Yeah, he's he'll be making an appearance through a plexiglass wall and through a telephone is where he'll make his. So.
They'll on the show have to go visit somebody in jail, and it's him.
Oh Jesus! Well, before that takes a downhill turn, we'll kind of turn into the actual college sports here. We still have some football to talk about here, roughly, and nothing too crazy. Jim Harbaugh come back another year, which I think a lot of people speculate like the Colts, which it's like, why would you have built a program for 8 whole years, get to the pinnacle, and then you're like, nah, let's just leave now? I mean, of course he's
yeah, made it to the playoff. Won a big. Did they win the Big Ten championship? Not this year, but the year before, or did they win?
Yeah, they won the Big Ten this year too.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, I'm leaving.
Yeah. Going to the playoffs back-to-back years, overrated. Why does Saban do this?
Yeah, dumb. No, so here's the thing. I just saw this today that, my South Dakota State Jackrabbits.
Ears up.
Won the national championship. Their coach is going out on top. Coach Stiegelmeier's retiring. Yeah, he's been their coach. Yeah, he's been their coach for 26 years. So,
oh my Lord.
Yeah, he announced today that he's going to retire. So, good for him.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing it the smart way, dude. I mean, if you've been coaching that long, you're not going to, especially after that North Dakota State dynasty that they've had. You know, go ears up and on top.
That's right, and that's what he's doing. So, yeah,
good on him. CJ Stroud announcing NFL draft, that doesn't shock me, dude. Just get paid. We're all acting like NIL. NIL's for the day 2 and 3 draftees. It's for them to get paid better than what they would in college. CJ, get your money before you potentially get injured.
Yes, yeah. I don't know. He'll be. I don't know if he'll be a first round pick, but he'll be up there.
I think he will.
You think so?
I think he's got. Yeah, I think he's got enough potential, and everyone is going back to the. I don't get the Will Levis. He's going to go number 1 or number 2, and it's. Why do people choose players that don't dominate in Power 5 and go, we can develop them? It's like you have Zach Wilson. You have all of these. I'm not going to keep listening, but you have all these players that have not dominated in college, and then shocker, they don't dominate in the NFL. I mean, what the only one I can think of right now is Patrick Mahomes, but he had the raw physical abilities out there in order to make up for it. Hello?
She has her balloons.
We do finally have a third podcaster with us.
Somebody with a good opinion. Finally. My 3-year-old. Go to bed.
Go to bed.
God.
Oh, goodness.
Good night. Love you.
We have a very professional setting here.
Yeah. Yep.
Hilarious.
Yep.
Well, now that some people are gone to bed, now we can get the real hot takes out, right?
Yes. Yeah. Now that the 3-year-olds are in bed.
Oh, that's funny. No, I mentioned to you earlier. Did you see? I would say just kind of going through these subjects. Ed Reed went off on I think it was Instagram where he posted that video. So if for those that are listening or not familiar with where he's at, he took a job at Bethune-Cookman. You can just say the Deion Sanders situation 2.0, and legitly it is. He said he got there, his office still isn't cleaned. The like campus in the area where his football players were, they're literally the first thing it is not practicing, not going over meetings. It's picking up trash.
Yeah.
Because the place is such a shit show. I mean, he was literally saying, he's like, I'm not even under contract. I might just fucking quit. I couldn't believe him doing that.
Yeah. I kind of on both sides of this. Like, I can't believe that the conditions are like that and they're having to pick up trash. Like his office isn't clean and all that, like, which that should not happen. Like, but then again, he's not taking over a Power 5 conference team either. Like, he's taking over Bethune-Cookman.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly. This ain't Bama, man. I didn't say you're gonna have to go through that growing pains. It's just that is kind of the side of it's like there's a reason why these colleges can't lift up. It's because they don't take care of the things on it. So hopefully he can get things turned around. But I thought that was an interesting tirade to have because I show up and they want me to do a good job, and here I am as the head football coach and we're picking up fucking trash. You know?
Yeah.
So, and God, like we got a lot of coach ones here.
Yes.
Going off on Instagram to going off on his student athletes. Tim Brewster, the tight ends coach for Colorado. You sent me that one. I think his new first name is going to be General.
General Booster.
General Major. Jesus. Fucking 10 HUD.
Yeah, I was scrolling Twitter and saw this. He is the tight ends coach at Colorado. He'll be an assistant under Deion Sanders. And there's a video of him coming into this meeting. And remember, he's the tight ends coach. He's not even the head coach.
Yeah.
And just like screaming and I don't even know what he said. When I say stand up, you stand tall. And he's like, stand up. And like all the players stand up and they're like, get your ass back in the seat and sit down. And they like sit down and then stand up. And like they go through this like multiple times. And it was, I know people are like, yeah, they need that discipline. And I'm like, dude, this is extremely corny.
Yeah.
As soon as he leaves the room, those players are mocking him and making fun of him.
Yeah, they're doing the mock salutes every time behind his back. But
yeah,
I think it's funny just the juxtaposition of here's cool and swaggy Deion. Hey man, we're gonna get you up there and we're gonna build you up as character as men and doing all this stuff. And then you have Tim Brewster, 10 HUD. Yeah, make sure your shoes are polished, otherwise you might he's just very fucking 10 HUD stand tall. That was very weird.
Now, there was another, I had this thought too, because there was another video today of inside their like meeting room or wherever on how to treat women. And I'm just like, is every team meeting that Colorado has, like, is it now just getting recorded and thrown on Twitter?
I think what they found out was Hyde from that 70s show is on the roster, so they need to make sure, okay, guys, no means no, and don't push Scientology on them, and we're going to respect women's decisions, and I don't know. It was, I did that as well. I forgot to put it on there, but yeah, I thought, I'll be honest, that one is like, I get, but it's like, do we need to be having this conversation? Apparently we do. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like, very weird conversation.
Yeah, and it's just weird to me that now, all because of Deion Sanders is there, everything that Colorado does in these meetings is now recorded. Like it's
Yeah.
Somebody's got their cell phone out and it's getting thrown on social media. It's like,
No, that's him filming it. That's not even someone like a cell phone. That is he like has a documentary going and he's
yeah.
recording everything. Like
Oh,
I
I
think
didn't realize this is from that. Jesus.
yeah. So I mean that's where it's like kind of like the overloading of okay, Colorado with how many wins they have, not enough for me to care this much about them, but
Yes.
it's Coach
Yes.
Prime, so. They just flipped like the number 9 corner in the country. Or I'm sorry, the number 4 cornerback in the country.
Mm-hmm.
So now they have he's bringing talent in. It's amazing how these kids are flip flopping immediately to go to Prime.
And on the other side of that, I saw that they've had like 13 commits decommit, right?
Yeah,
I think it was 13. I mean, that's a big number. That's
Cormani McLean for those that want to look it up.
I mean, 13, that's more than half of a recruiting class, probably.
Yeah. No, I mean, he's doing work, dude. I mean, that's where everyone's like, I bet you he shits the bed year one. I think the meetings are corny. I think he's legit going to have a decent shot at minimum 500, I think, next year. With all this talent that he's going to be bringing in, who's going to be the first one that's going to say they're a dark horse for the playoffs and going to win the Pac-12?
Oh, I'm sure ESPN will be right on that.
Oh, yeah.
So I know we talked about this last night after the Road to 272, but when he was the underdog at Jackson State, I don't know if you want to call it the underdog, but at Jackson State at the small school, he was getting some airtime on the TV, and all that. And then he goes to Colorado, and then, the first thing you see is, hit the transfer portal, bringing my guys. And then there's this guy that's acting like these 18-year-old kids or, sit your ass in the chair. And it's just like, dude,
simplify.
You lost me. Like, I was kind of for you at Jackson State, and now I'm just like, I hope Colorado goes 0-12 next year.
No, I'm not there yet, but it is getting annoying, man. It's just like
it is.
We get it, man.
It is.
And honestly, though, it's kind of one of those like for you guys last year, the Jackson Mahomes. Like, God, it's another story. It's annoying, but you can't look away because he draws the eyes. Everyone wants to know what's the latest of Colorado now. Which who the hell's cared about Colorado since they've left the Big 12?
Exactly. They've been terrible.
Yeah.
So, okay, here's a question. What would you think about it if say Matt Campbell got fired last year and he was hired at Iowa State?
Dion?
Yes.
Oh,
and all this crap was happening at Iowa State.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Actually, I'm trying to just imagine it right now.
Yeah.
I think honestly I'd be more cringe over for sure the Tim Brewster 10 Hut meeting. I don't know. I think the novelty right now we would still be loving it. We would be eating that shit up because Campbell's had some of those moments. But once once you're 0-0, you haven't lost, but you haven't won either, so everyone's kind of loving it. When you go 2-4, all of a sudden the 10 Hut meetings don't look so cool anymore.
Exactly.
It loses its appeal. So. I don't know.
I know we mentioned last night that they play a kind of a tough Pac-12 schedule.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I don't know. I'm starting to believe it. I think Dion's definitely one of those guys where he's going to be the good guy. He's got the Tim Brewsters to hold kids in line, and he's got solid coordinators that are going to do a lot of the coaching and the actual work around it. No doubt that Dion can do the cornerbacks in the secondary and do the head coaching abilities. Obviously, amazing recruiter. Come play for me. That's all he has to say,
Exactly.
So. Yep. But no, I would say that one. Yeah, I would say I'm Colorado'd out for a while. Florida quarterback. That's pretty rude. I didn't even put the kid's name, but he's backing out of his commitment. So he signed a national letter of intent with them, and this is where unfortunately NIL is going to start. Obviously it's already started. Jaden Rashada, he signed a national letter of intent with Florida under the assumption that he was getting a $13 million NIL deal, and somewhere in there it got backed up, they got backed out. So he's going, well, I'm backing out of Florida. You told me you're paying me this money, and now he's leaving. But like,
Yeah,
I guess what
I
is
heard
more? Go ahead.
I heard like they were, had told him about that 13 million, and like their collective or whatever, like didn't even have that much money in it.
See,
Like they couldn't pay him.
I understand you can't have collectives be public, but I
Mm-hmm.
mean, like, was he expecting like a $13 million lump sum? I'm assuming their assumption was we're going to get this kid in here and he's going to be okay with. We told him 13 million. Well, that means 4.25 every year, and they were just going to
Yeah.
hope that naturally his abilities were going to help raise it. But like, I can't blame the kid one bit. You told me you're going to pay me this much money, and then now you're backing out.
Yeah.
I just couldn't believe.
I would like to know what Arch Manning's getting. Like, there's nobody getting 13 million. Nobody.
No. I mean, well, I'm honestly shocked that people are getting millions. I've heard of the $250,000, $500,000, and the golly, was it Hendon Hooker? There was a Tennessee quarterback. I think it was Hendon. I think he was getting like $3 million. But like, you had a Heisman candidate. People are talking about Tennessee football for the first time ever. That one makes sense. But I just.
Mm-hmm.
It is amazing when you hear all of a sudden 13 million, that number is out there. And you're going, oh, shit, how much money has been in college football that no one's talking about,
Yep.
So, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see where he ends up. And sadly, all you're going to think of is like, okay, wherever he goes, that NAL collective has money in the bank then.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting. Now, I don't think he will get anywhere near 13 million. I honestly don't. Nobody's going to give him that.
No. What's Saban making a year? 10?
Yeah.
So that's where I think it's 4-year 13.
I would think so, yeah.
Which I don't know. Again, NIL, you can't stipulate like, well, you have to stay here 4 years. It's like baseball. It's here's your contract, here's your money. Raising Cane's has gone 0 for 2 with theirs with Rattler, and then Brennan backed out of his. I mean, they got to pay him regardless. So
yep.
I don't know. Hopefully he gets his money. That's what this whole thing's been about. So good on him.
Yep.
On the opposite side, bad on TCU, dude. They hired Kendall Briles as the offensive coordinator, which, again, if you're a Big 12 fan or a fan of college football, you know the last name Briles. Kendall is the son of Art Briles, and he was on the staff of Baylor during their, no way to beat around it, the rape allegations.
Mm-hmm.
And TCU went from lovable underdog to getting trounced to the national championship to hiring a person, which let's be real honest. Everyone in the Big 12 outside of Baylor holds their nose high, going, "Well, at least that wasn't us doing that." Baylor,
yeah,
brings on a coach that allowed that stuff.
Yeah. And now, I knew it would only take time to get those coaches would be back in college football, and here we are. Like, what's Art Briles? Isn't he's back doing something, isn't he?
He was at Liberty, I think.
Yeah.
He was, it's like some really small school, but it's like, well, he started no, I'm sorry. I think Liberty originally hired him, and then they received such backlash, like, hey, he allowed rape. How about we don't bring that into our university? So
okay.
Yeah.
So somebody was thinking about bringing him back.
Yeah, no, I know for sure they were, and like, this is gonna be me being holier than thou, but like, no offense, it's like, well, in the SEC it means more. So he was just a coach, but he was outside the Big 12, and I don't think anyone really, and they weren't too good. But now you're a national power, you're in the national spotlight, and you bring in a coach that has allowed that. And for those that don't know, TCU is Texas Christian University. I don't think those allegations are very Christian-like, not how to treat your fellow man, or woman.
Yeah. They need to get that coach from Colorado in there. Get him in there.
Everyone wants to go to Colorado now, dude. They can't get him out of there.
Get that coach in there and have a meeting on. But it's just for Kendall Briles. The players don't need to go.
Hey, in case you forgot, I think with Me Too and everything else on social media, I think these kids are aware of what you should and shouldn't do, but you got to make sure you put a video out so everyone knows that you're telling them not to rape. I mean, Deion Sanders is the complete opposite of Art Briles. He's putting a video saying, "Do not mistreat women, and
Yeah.
Art Briles is like, keep it quiet. So I mean, yeah, he's doing the best he can to be as opposite of Art Briles, which I appreciate now that I'm speaking
Yeah.
it out loud.
Yeah. No more bad talk about Dion.
Yeah, exactly. He's my favorite. So. But yeah, we'll kind of jump into it since it's just the two Cyclones. We're not going to keep this one going too long, but just the Heartland top 25 teams. Kansas was at number 2, starting going into the week. Iowa State 12, Kansas State 13, which they're shocking me right now.
Yeah.
And then Iowa's starting to get some votes, and they're back up to 41, which I'm rooting for Iowa just because when we lost so bad that we got to get that loss to start looking good again. So
Yeah, their 0-3 start to the conference didn't do Iowa State any favors, but now that they got what's his name Murray back, and they've started to go in the right direction, win a couple ball games, which has helped Iowa State.
Yeah, McCaffrey's. I think he's starting to. He's going to be coming back here
Is
soon.
he? Good for him.
Yeah, honestly, he took the break thing. And like you said, I think he kind of set a goal of 4 to 5 games to get himself right. A couple weeks.
Yeah.
Which Iowa is back to playing the way they should. Yep. Even without them, they're winning games. They beat Maryland earlier this week. Excuse me, and then they postponed the Northwestern game due to COVID. It's 2023. We're postponing games for COVID now, and it is rescheduled about the best possible time in their schedule. They had a 5-day gap, and it is a home stretch, so they don't have to travel. It will be played in Iowa City between, I think it's like the Rutgers game and Michigan State. But it's just one of those questions that I'll ask you. Why don't we just know? We just saw the Bills and Cincinnati no contest in the NFL, which never cancels a game.
Yeah,
this is amateur sports. This is sorry, people can take this as talking down, but Iowa Northwestern is not going to dictate anything in the NCAA tournament and the national standing. Why don't just no contest this thing and keep these kids healthier?
Yeah. Yeah, and right now in college basketball, what does it take to get this game postponed like this? I haven't heard of literally 0 other games being postponed because of COVID right now. And
well, they were the reason is they were down, like, between injuries and COVID, they were down to like the minimum that you can even have on a roster, and even then they were like right on the line. So it was.
I was going to say, do they only have
bodies, but
less than 5 people? Like,
yeah,
don't foul out.
Yeah, I just honestly, that's where just no contest it, because then now you're putting these kids at risk later in the year when now the season's starting to wear on. And hey, remember when you have that 4-game stretch where you could finally relax? Well, now we're throwing a game smack dab in the middle of it. Hopefully that doesn't screw anything up. I think it's BS they don't just no contest it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's 1 game out of 30,
Mm-hmm.
It's not like football where it'd be 1 out of their 12.
I mean, looking at the records for each of them, if you're Iowa, that win or loss versus Northwestern isn't going to be on your resume to put you into the tournament or not. Same thing with Northwestern. A win over Iowa for them would probably be good, but they're not good enough that they're going to make the tournament. Let's be honest.
Yep.
So I don't know. That was the one thing I thought on that one, is just cancel these games, keep these kids healthy, whatever, move on. So, but yeah, we'll move on to Iowa State here. Iowa State they're currently 14-3. I think I have the latest standings. Tied for first finally in the Big 12 with Kansas and Kansas State. This last weekend, tough loss in Lawrence at Fog Allen. Lost Kansas 62-60 on the last possession here. And then they had a tough fought-out win where they were down as much as 11 versus Texas on Tuesday. They won that 78-67, and that is the 4th-ranked win for the Cyclones this year. How you I guess, is there a certain game or just how you feeling on the Cyclones, man?
I'm feeling good on the Cyclones right now. Mm-hmm. When they announced that Jazz Kuntz was going to go down with a broken finger here before Big 12 play, I was a little worried that he was going to miss like 6 to 8 weeks. But man, Iowa State's playing really well right now. that Kansas game on Saturday, the Iowa State had a chance. I mean, they could have won. They had the ball down 2 with the final possession and did not get off a good shot at all. So, I mean, that's a game they could have won. But I don't know. I think Iowa State, and they've proven it, can hang with anybody right now. So if they keep this going, they're going to be really dangerous in March. So that'll be fun. But that Texas game on Tuesday night was that was electric.
It couldn't have started worse, but it couldn't have ended any better. Dude.
When they got down by 11, though, I was never like, we're going to get blown out. I think this team plays defense is a great equalizer, I think, in college basketball. Like I had no worry that like the defense will pick it up and they'll get some stops, and they did, and they hit some shots to get back into it real quick. So they played great. Tyrese Hunter coming back to Ames was that was a crazy scene.
Win is expected, I think.
He started hot, but
finished
not so hot. 32 minutes.
I have it here. He scored 9 points in the first. I think it was like I think it was in the first like 10 minutes. I have the 13 in here. It seemed like it was a lot faster, but he was hitting his shots. The boos felt like powering him up, and then he had 1 point the final 27 minutes. His last field goal was at the 12-17 mark in the first half. Yeah, I mean, I think this is the age where you're going to start seeing more atmospheres. Not only Hilton's pretty special with having the crowd being in at those moments, but I think you're going to start seeing more of that with NIL, quote unquote, stealing, like we felt. Players from different games, and if they ever have a home game like this, but for the crowd being super into it, which that's why we won that game. They were really into it when we were playing lights out. But between when they announced him throwing the money in the air, the Monopoly money, to them, just straight up chanting "fuck Tyrese" when he walked in the stadium, is that all kosher in college? Do you? I think it was fine. I've been part of those crowds where like Marcus Smart and all these other players that you just hate at the college level. But do you think the fuck Tyrese is over the edge? Do you think that was kosher with him taking money? What do you think?
I mean, literally chanting "fuck Tyrese" or "fuck anybody" might be a little over, but everything else that he got was totally warranted.
Yeah,
like the throwing of the money, all that stuff. I mean, I know he took the money, which good for him. Don't get me wrong. Great for him. You got the money, go take it if it's being offered. He was brought up pretty rough, I know, so could use the money. But for you to sit there and say, it had nothing to do with it. It had nothing. No, come on.
Yeah.
It did. It don't sit there. And then, he goes on Twitter and all this and starts saying stuff. It was warranted after all that.
That's where I say, for me, I think the fuck Tyrese is all right. Because if you would have just left, like you said, if you just left and say you're taking money, that's fine. Literally said, dude, I grew up poor and I'm about to make 6 figures to play basketball. Yeah, I'm going there.
So, that's the thing. Yeah. So if he would have said that, good for him. I would have been more just screw Texas.
Yeah, exactly. Like we all do.
Not the player. Yeah, not the player, but the institution that's literally tampering and recruiting him while he's on the roster at Iowa State. That's what I don't agree with.
Yep. But then he goes, let me know when you want to catch a smoke on Twitter, walking buckets and everything else. So it's like, yep, sure. Okay. Then the fuck Tyrese, I actually am fine with. But to actually just hop back to the Kansas game real quick, I'll be honest, you and me, we're the biggest complainers on refs. Let's just be real honest, and I'm glad that the Fog Allen, that one was just a legit loss. There wasn't a questionable goaltending or the toe on the line is it a 2 or 3-pointer. The refs weren't involved on it. That was just Kansas won a hard fought game, and we missed our last shot because Caleb. That was a terrible shot.
It was. Yeah, I had no problem with that game. I had no problem with that loss. It's a good Kansas team.
Yep.
No,
they're very raw though, dude. They are not it feels like Alabama this year. They're not as disciplined. And from what I was watching another game, they only go like 7 deep. So if you ever get them in foul trouble, I think Kansas is going to be a little more vulnerable than people expect.
You ain't getting in foul trouble in Fog Allen Fieldhouse when you're KU, okay?
Maybe names Iowa with a little home cooking, but you never know.
Now KU did not commit a foul the last 13 minutes. Just saying.
That's just discipline, Trent. Come on, wink, wink, nod, nod.
Yeah, that's just clean basketball right there.
Yeah, you're never going to get the greatest game, but there wasn't a controversial. It feels like every year in Fog Allen, it's a 3-point game, and it's always here's the call within the last 2 minutes, and it's always something where it's just like, come on, man, like you have replay and you're fucking it up,
Yeah, well, we mentioned it on the road to 272 last night. It's like we're ready to get our nuts kicked. Here we go.
Yeah, get ready, embrace. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This team has definitely shown that, like you said, they're in any game. If we last year, where we're putting up games where we have 36, 41, 44 points, if we go down by 11, that's game. This year we actually have an offense. We still have that same solid defense, but we can put the points together and really get these scoring stretches going too.
Yeah, Iowa State this year isn't going 8-9 minutes without scoring like we did last year in multiple games.
Yeah, dude, it was dude. Speaking of long stretches, how long was? Do you happen to remember how long the stretch was for Texas at the end without getting a field goal?
I think they went like 8 minutes without a field goal or something like that.
Dude,
they missed. Did they miss 12 or 13 field goals in a row?
It was pretty rough, and that's when the frustration started, and then we were getting turnovers on top of it too.
Yeah. Dude, Caleb Grill has started to become quite the shit talker, I think.
Okay.
Like when he nailed that 3 with about 5 minutes left and is running to the Texas bench saying, "You better call a timeout."
That is some of the cockiest shit I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like upwards of disrespectful of like stepping over someone, some of the iconic stuff, telling the other team that they should call a timeout. Fuck it. I'm glad we got a little bit of that swagger on this team.
So I did see an all-time great tweet after that. I can't remember who it was. I just came across it. It was like, it said, if Steve Prohm was the coach, he would have been the one to call a timeout to end that stretch, to end that run.
God, he did have a way of just the momentum, just fucking halting it.
Yeah, it's like, we just hit a 3 to go up by 8 with 5 minutes left, all the momentum. I'm going to call a timeout. Why he ever did that? At that point, Hilton is going freaking bonkers. Go down on defense while the crowd is going nuts. No, Steve Prohm will be like, we need to calm the crowd down. Timeout.
He had those before Scott Drew won his championship. He had a lot of Scott Drew moments where calling timeouts the wrong time, having no timeout, and you just So yeah, I agree, dude. Otzelberger, I cannot believe it. I don't think he's coach of the year because you're gonna have like Jerome, Tang for Kansas State. You're gonna have these other coaches that are gonna be the bigger stories compared to a Sweet 16 team from last year. But like, man, what TJ's done, where he is competing in every single game. The only game we haven't competed in this year, ironically, was our worst loss, the Iowa game, where we just could not fucking hit the broadside of a barn, and Iowa was fucking lights out in that game.
Yeah, to tell you the truth, I didn't even watch that game. I can't remember what I was doing, but I didn't get to turn the game on right away. And by the time I turned it on, we were down by like 15. So I was like, I don't need to watch this.
I think it was at 10 minutes left. It was like 21-2. I was literally getting ready, I think, for like the pod or one of our pods. I was like, yeah, I think I'm just gonna do anything else rather than watch this. So
yeah.
but I would say coming up here for this weekend, we're at Oklahoma State, which we kind of struggle with for some reason down there in
Yep.
Stillwater. But we
Yep.
got that on Saturday at 1 o'clock on ESPN Plus, the classic. Everyone better have it by now, man.
Yeah.
Um,
I think it's stupid that we keep getting put on there. But they made a good point on the Bloom and Williams podcast that Iowa State fans are going to buy it. Like they know that's where their money's coming from. They can put any two crap teams on their normal cable network that nobody's going to pay for.
Yeah.
Or they can put teams that people are going to pay for on their subscription.
Mm-hmm. You want to know why we're on the subscription ESPN Plus? Because they got to play Kentucky's, the UCLA's. I mean, name any powerhouse the last 20, 40 years. They're going to put them on, even if they're unranked, even with a losing record, because people will always watch Kentucky or Duke. Because why? You either would love to watch them lose or you'd love to watch them win. Either way, you're watching. So, perfect point. We love Iowa State, of course. But guess what? Indiana, Illinois has been playing this whole time. Not really a competitive game, but if you're not invested in either of those teams, who gives a flying fuck about the Hoosiers or the Fighting Illini?
Yeah, I have it on now just to have the TV on, basically.
Exactly. So I don't know. That's one thing us Cyclone fans have been a little whiny about lately, and me too. But it's just like, man, I want to be on ESPN. It's like, no, win your games. Just if you're top 10, it's a lot harder for them to argue against it.
I don't know why I'm complaining. I mean, I subscribe to ESPN Plus, so I'm watching the game anyway. So
give you a fucking reason to actually use it. Exactly.
Yeah. I think I bought it. Well, I always do it for the very first football game of the season because it's never on because we play who are we played this year? I don't even know. Southeast Missouri State or something.
There it is. Southeast Missouri. You got it.
All right. So, yeah, I bought it for the first football game and never canceled my subscription. So now I'm just watching the basketball games on it too.
There you go. Yeah. So I would say that one, the at Oklahoma State will be on ESPNU or ESPN Plus, and then we're playing Kansas State at home, 13 Kansas State. That one's on the 24th at 8 p.m. on ESPNU. So we're finally back on television,
but not like normal regular cable. Like if you're in Gowrie, Iowa, and you don't have like a special WCCTA subscription, you ain't getting it.
No, yeah, you're just refreshing your box score on your phone the whole time. To be honest, Oklahoma State, even though we've kind of been cursed on the road, I think with how we have had that resolve, especially in the Texas game, I think that one's going to be a pretty easy game. I don't know what the spread is. I'm probably going to have Cyclones covering it. Kansas State is going to be a tough one. Yeah. I think not only just they seem like they've got a solid coach, they've got that momentum going. But they can
Hilton,
dude. Oh, it is in Hilton, but I'd say it's going to be in Texas can put up some points too. So that makes me feel better about this week. But dude, I always think of with those two teams, Kansas State and Texas, it's Kansas State, I don't care who it is. It could be an empty gym. There might not be times you put up 116 points, and they did that versus Texas.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that I was surprised when I saw that score.
Yeah, that one worries me, and I'm looking at just their last 5 games. The only game that they've lost was at TCU. They kind of got walloped, 82-68. I don't know. I would say that you as well as I know, winning against Kansas in the Big 12, you feel invincible. So they're going to be pretty difficult, I think.
Yeah. Now, if Iowa State, so we beat Texas on Tuesday after the polls came out. If we beat Oklahoma State on Saturday, polls will come back out on Monday. Do we jump into the top 10?
Well, let me get the top 10 pulled up because I don't have it.
Because Iowa State beat Texas, they were in the top 10, so they're falling out.
Yeah, so we're naturally going to have one team I think that falls out below us in Texas. Ahead of us, we got Xavier, Tennessee, Virginia, Arizona. I have been keeping track close enough if either of them has been dropping out.
Yeah,
I mean, above that, there's no teams that's losing either. Kansas lost, but they're not going to drop below us.
no.
Yeah, Purdue, Alabama, UCLA. You know what? Sadly, I think we're still out. If we
Probably
do,
11
yeah, we're going to be at 11.
or
If
10.
everyone above us keeps winning, because
Yeah.
I don't think the Texas win is enough where people are going to respect Iowa State enough to jump them in the polls. They're going to go whatever. They're going to keep us at 12. I mean, with that college poll tracker, I mean, looking at it, so we're ranked 12th right now. We only had three. Voters that had us at 9. That above that, and we had a few that are around the 10, 11, 12 range. We still have quite a few that have us at 13. I mean, they're voting us as low as 18 right now. So, I mean, you're always going to have that issue on the national stage when you're, I would say, more regional. Like us, until Wichita State got into the national prominence. They're always we're at that point where we win, we're going to slowly chip away going up. When we lose, we're dropping 4 immediately, minimum. So I don't think so yet, and frankly, I'm fine with it. Don't let them get their heads too big. You know what happens to Iowa State? We get ranked in the top 10, then we shit the bed every single time. Doesn't matter what.
We'd lose to West Virginia.
Yeah, so I don't know. I kind of hope so, just for that sake, because I'm superstitious like that. But I mean, realistically, I think we're going to go 2-0 in those games. I think Kansas, they're going to have that emotional high of beating Kansas, and they're going to falter back down.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with that. And like I said, with it being in Hilton, I like our chances there.
So I'll agree with that. Well, shit, man, unless you want to talk anything more in depth about Kansas, that's about all I got, man.
No, I don't have anything else.
Good. Well, shit. Well, I know it's a little bit of a short one. We do appreciate everyone that joined us live. We appreciate our fellow co-host Amelia joining in for a little while there.
Star of the show. I mean, look at the comments. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 comments in a matter of a minute and a half, all about Amelia.
They want more Amelia. They have a fever, and the only thing that can cure it is more Amelia. So
we're gonna have to start doing the podcast before bedtime then, if we want to have her on more often.
We're gonna be doing live. Yeah, we're gonna be doing live streams at 5:30 in the afternoon, and it's gonna resolve a lot around coloring and balloons that I saw all the time.
Twinkle, twinkle. That's how she podcasts. Just twinkle, twinkle, little star, right into the microphone.
She's yelling that microphone like it's a walkie-talkie from Vietnam, trying to get any signal.
Did I hear a niner?
Yes, did I hear a niner? Well, again, we do appreciate everyone joining us live. If you do want to join us on our socials, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch at Heartland Pulse, Facebook, YouTube at Pulse of the Heartland. Please make sure you're liking, subscribing, share us about. We try and do college sports on Thursdays. We've been doing a lot more football and gambling content recently, but I think we're starting to get into that nice weather where I think we're probably going to be picking up some smoking content. I know you guys have that your golf pod that you're going to start up again.
Struggle for Par podcast, gonna kick
F-O-R-E.
back up here. 4.
Get it?
Yeah. We're clever.
So I would say we'll have that coming up, and then obviously all of our episodes as well. Or if you're looking for anything else, we are involved with In the Zone Studios. That is In the Zone .studio on Google. Twitch is In the Zone 1, and then Let Talk Sport, just at Let Talk Sport. He's been sharing a little bit of our stuff as well. So we do appreciate everyone joining us live, and we'll catch you next week.
Yep. See you next week.